In a shocking turn, President Donald Trump has ordered the deportation of Democratic Representative Shri Thanedar after uncovering a $20 million fraud scheme. This revelation has rocked Washington and revealed deep corruption within the Democratic Party. But what exactly did Shri do, and how did Trump act so fast? It started with a whisper. A note slipped under the Oval Office door with 5 words scribbled in block letters. He's not who he says. President Trump, now the 47th President of the United States, read it silently before ordering his team to investigate. The search began with financial statements and campaign filings, but it was a bankruptcy report from New Jersey that revealed a darker truth, a defunct animal testing lab tied to Thanedar. Inside, the photos were horrifying, rotting food, dead animals, and a signed closure form bearing his name. Trump's jaw clenched. "We're not dealing with a congressman," he murmured. "We're dealing with a criminal." That night, Trump's thoughts stayed on those images, abandoned animals locked in cages. At 3:00 a.m., he couldn't sleep, haunted by the cruelty. The next morning, an audit revealed staggering details: $800,000 in campaign debt, mysterious government funds diverted into luxury homes, and a GoFundMe page marked, "Help Impeach Trump, Save America." But the money wasn't going to impeach anyone. It was paying off Thanedar's debts. Trump stood before the press that evening. "There's a wolf in sheep's clothing in our Congress," he said firmly, "and I'm not letting him destroy our country." The next day, the media exploded. Trump's team released more shocking files, including documents showing Thanedar's lab received over $2 million in taxpayer funds for biological research, none of it accounted for. The staff testimony was heartbreaking. "He shut the doors, told us not to come back," one said, tears in his voice. Even lifelong Democrats were shaken by the cruelty. By that afternoon, Trump was in a private briefing with Homeland Security. "Prepare the paperwork," he said calmly. "Deportation?" "Yes," Trump nodded. "Let the world know. We protect America no matter what party they hide behind." A chilling file labeled Thunderer Phase 2 arrived that morning, containing dozens of voice memos from former employees of Thanedar's failed pharmaceutical company. One memo stood out, a shaky voice detailing how Thanedar had used grant money to buy a yacht while animals in his lab starved. Trump, his eyes burning with anger, said, "Get me the Justice Department. Get me ICE now." This was no longer about politics. This was about stopping pure evil. By midday, Trump's team had uncovered the full extent of the scheme: fake invoices, bank records, and a teenage intern's letter describing the horrors at the lab. Trump held the letter with reverence before looking up and saying, "Release this to the public. America needs to know." That afternoon, Trump addressed the nation, showing the world the truth about Shri Thanedar. "He is a fraud, a liar, and an abuser of both people and animals," Trump declared. His words hit hard. People wept, and support for Trump surged. The next morning, Trump dropped another bombshell. Thanedar had quietly created a Help Impeach Trump campaign, funneling millions into paying off his personal debts. At a town hall in Ohio, a Vietnam War veteran stood up saying, "I didn't vote for you, Mr. President, but today I see you're the only one fighting for people like me." That afternoon, Trump signed an executive order for Thanedar's immediate deportation. The countdown had begun. As more evidence came to light, shell companies, fraudulent grants, and millions in stolen taxpayer dollars, America's heartbreak grew. Thousands of peaceful protesters gathered outside the Capitol, demanding justice. "Not in our name. Shri must pay. We stand with Trump," their signs read. Then, a woman named Dana Fields, a former assistant in Thanedar's office, stepped forward with damning evidence. "We were told to lie," she revealed, showing wire transfers and messages that proved Thanedar had stolen from his donors. "He betrayed all of us. President Trump is the only one who listened." By the evening, Trump had ordered Thanedar's deportation hearing to be moved up. The clock was ticking. Trump was determined to finish this fight, no matter the cost. That night, as the country watched, Trump delivered a final address. Holding photos of the animals left to die, he vowed, "I will not rest until Shri Thanedar answers for every single lie." The next morning, America was in shock, but it was awake. People of all political stripes stood together, and in the quiet halls of Congress, each member received an email detailing the $20 million fraud that had nearly destroyed America. Trump wasn't just fighting for politics anymore. he was fighting for truth. The lab's sudden shutdown revealed black filing cabinets, each drawer labeled with disturbing phrases: grant payouts, falsified animal inventory, unreported deaths, and Congress lobby contacts. Among the folders, one stood out: the WH response plan, detailing how Shri Thanedar would orchestrate a political storm to distract from his financial misdeeds. The document was dated 3 weeks before his impeachment push. Trump's national security advisor rushed to the Oval Office. "Sir, he planned this. He used your presidency to cover up his crimes." Trump stood silent, then placed his hand on the Constitution on his desk. "Release everything. Let America see it all. I'm done protecting criminals in suits." And just like that, the floodgates opened. By Sunday morning, the nation was in shock. Families once divided, now united over one truth. Shri Thanedar's actions were unforgivable. But it was Reverend Elijah Carter, a pastor from Alabama, who turned the tide. During a live sermon, he held up 2 images, one of dying animals, the other of Sergeant Michael Hayes, the veteran who had written to Trump. His voice trembled. "One man let God's creatures starve. The other, an old soldier, gave his last breath for truth. Church, who are we standing with?" The room broke into tears. People embraced. Then the unexpected. "I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I'd follow this version of him into battle." That clip went viral, shared over 7 million times within 24 hours. Trump, watching from the residence, wiped his eyes. "This isn't just about me anymore. It's about healing what they tried to poison." As Trump's public support grew, Shri Thanedar's world crumbled. His legal team begged for a delay on his deportation. Trump didn't respond. Instead, the DOJ released a secretly recorded video of Shri saying, "They'll forget. Americans always forget. We just need to raise more Trump hate, pay off Dubai. No one cares about the animals." The video shattered his defense. Later that afternoon, Shri held a press conference, pale and trembling, trying to defend himself. "I made mistakes, but I never meant harm." No one clapped. No one believed him. Outside, crowds lit candles, not for politics, but for truth, and they stood in support of the man who had brought it to light, Donald J. Trump. In a school in Newark, 5 kids came forward with stories no one had heard. 12-year-old Mia Lopez, remembering her childhood near the abandoned lab, spoke about starving animals and a man who locked the gate behind him. Mia's classmates shared similar memories. Trump watched the news segment, then ordered, "Add their story to the trial. The nation needs to hear it." By Tuesday, even Shri's party had begun to distance themselves. Senator Raymond Beckley, a Democrat, stood before the press, shaking. "I trusted Shri. But what President Trump revealed, it's undeniable. It's evil. There's no party in this. There's only right and wrong." The speech went viral. People cried, whispered, "Finally." Then came Lydia Carson, a retired nurse from Newark, who sent Trump a letter with a photo of Max, a beagle rescued from behind the lab. The letter simply read, "I tried reporting what I saw. No one believed me. But now, Mr. President, you've done what no one else dared to do. Max can finally rest." Trump, moved, declared, "The deportation will proceed. Justice can't wait." The following day, Shri was escorted by federal agents into the courtroom. The judge wasted no time. "This isn't politics. This is horror." The charges were read. $20 million in fraudulent grants, $800,000 in misused campaign funds, 118 animal deaths. And then the decision: Shri Thanedar, your deportation is approved. The following morning, Shri was escorted out of his D.C. townhouse. There were no cheers, just a silence of truth. As the van carried him away, a quiet crowd gathered, holding candles for the victims of his crimes. Trump, watching from the White House, didn't smile. "Clean house, make sure this never happens again." The next day, a package arrived at the White House, one with no return address. Inside, a crayon drawing from a 9-year-old named Ava in Kentucky. "Thank you for being brave," it read. Trump, moved, wrote back, "You made my day. I promise to protect those who can't protect themselves." The week culminated in Trump addressing the nation. "This week we faced an ugly truth, but in our pain we found something bigger than any party. We found our soul again." And as he spoke, fireworks lit up the sky across the country, not for celebration, but for closure. Sophie Green, the 7-year-old who had spoken at the vigil, received a letter from the president. "Your voice helped move a nation. Never forget that even the smallest hearts can carry the greatest truths." The country forever changed began to heal. Justice had been served, and for once, truth was louder than money and power. As Trump reflected on the week, he quietly whispered, "This is why I fight."